This is a really special day for the state of South Dakota. We have the opportunity to sign into law legislation that's critically important to meet the challenges that we're facing in our workforce areas today. It was President Ronald Reagan who said years ago, "Those nations and states which have secured man's highest aspirations for freedom, opportunity, and justice have always been those who trust their people, confident in their skills and their talent equal to any challenge." South Dakota has demonstrated that in a way that no other state has over the last several years. If you know, we face some incredible challenges in our state, but we've taken every one of those challenges and turned them into opportunities. We told our story about the value of our people, our work ethic, and that we wanted people to come here and be a part of our special way of life. South Dakota has grown our economy and our population in historic ways recently. We have had businesses here that have been able to thrive because of our freedoms, and they have expanded. We have recruited other businesses to come to the state, which before never even considered making this their home. And we have had tens of thousands of people that have picked up their lives and their families and their kiddos and moved here to our state because they recognize that they would get the opportunity to thrive. You know, we have had incredible growth in our economy, our state revenues. We've also been #1 in the nation for housing development that has come in to meet some of the needs that we've seen. We've seen our children outperform students in the classroom from across the nation. And we also have seen incomes going up faster here in South Dakota than any other state. Those are all really good news. We have one of the record low unemployment numbers that we've ever had in the history of South Dakota. But what also needs to be addressed is the fact that we still have 21,000 open jobs today. I think most of the businesses that I go into, they say we could continue to expand, we could continue to pursue new opportunities if we just had the workers. I'm a big believer that the state that has the workers will be the state that continues to thrive for many years to come. And why we do that, we know that many people that want to come to South Dakota, that they look at our state, but they also know that they may be licensed or they may have a skill set that when they hit the ground here that they can't utilize it right away. Several years ago, South Dakota had this debate on this bill, and this piece of legislation that looked like this was not successful. But this year I am thrilled that overwhelmingly the legislature has recognized the need to recognize out-of-state licenses. That when people want to move to South Dakota, that immediately we will recognize the training and the skill set that they have in their license from their home state as they relocate to make this the place that they want to raise their families. As we look at the history of the last several years since I've had the chance to be your governor, the very first year I was in office, we brought a bill that would allow military spouses to have their licenses recognized, and that did pass and has seen and demonstrated incredible opportunities for our military families as they've relocated to our state. Since then, we've also brought legislation that recognized healthcare licenses in regards to nurses or those in the healthcare field, that when they came to South Dakota, we would recognize their license and let them get to work immediately. That bill was brought largely in response to the COVID pandemic, but we also saw how it met the needs and the shortages that we had throughout the state of South Dakota. So today I'm signing into law legislation that will recognize out-of-state licenses in virtually all other fields of employment in the state of South Dakota. This law will streamline the licensing and certification process for thousands of people that are choosing to make South Dakota their home. If someone moves here and they're ready and qualified in the workforce area to which they were specialized and trained in, then state laws should not stand in their way to get right to work. Today, there are about 900 job openings that can be filled when this bill is signed into law. We think that now between now and 2030 that it could be annually up to 4,000 jobs that would be streamlined by having those licenses immediately recognized as soon as they hit the borders of our state. This anticipates about 200 plumbing jobs a year, which I know we're here today with Midwest Technical, and just so grateful they've hosted us and that they're welcoming us, because this is one of the specialty areas that they focus on. And another profession would be electricians. Up to 300 of those individuals per year could be annually recognized. One of the interesting pieces of this bill is that it also addresses teachers. and that teachers could be certified as soon as they hit the border, up to 300 annual elementary school teacher openings, and more than 500 different accountant openings could be filled in the state because of how we're streamlining the regulations in South Dakota today. All of those jobs require licenses, so this bill will help fill those jobs here in our state for years to come. We've had other states that have done this in the past. So there's a handful that have pursued this kind of comprehensive recognition of occupational licenses. Some of them, including Arizona, have seen 5,000 jobs since then that have been filled using this kind of legislation and policy. We know that we live, though, here in South Dakota in the best state in the nation. We know we tell our story better than anywhere else, and we know that people are looking for exactly the quality of life that we can offer. We're going to continue to attract people to our state, to make them have the ability to come here and to thrive and to pursue their skill set and fulfill the American dream that they've always had for their families. I'm excited that we've had some real leaders in the legislature that have helped champion this legislation. We have Senator Jim Stalzer is here today. He was the prime sponsor in the Senate, getting it through the process this year. And also Representative Tyler Tortzen is here. There he is. Look at him. They're like two pillars, not just on either side of me, but in the state. But it matters who sponsors these bills and stands up and champions them, because if they are respected, if they have integrity, and if they have credibility, their colleagues listen. And it's very clear this year that with these two men carrying this bill and being willing to educate their fellow policymakers on this legislation, that they learned and they understood the value of it and getting it across the finish line and getting it signed into law today. So I want to thank them for their leadership, and I want to thank them for helping us meet the workforce challenges that we have here in South Dakota today. I'm hopeful that very soon we'll stand in front of you and talk about all the great and wonderful people that have come to our state because of legislation much like this. Let's get to work and let's get to signing this bill for everybody. I have in front of me, and I've got some pens here that I will hand out after we're done. What I will do is I will sign this piece of legislation, and I will be presenting the pens in signature afterwards to Senator Stalzer and to Representative Tortzen. Today, the 2023 South Dakota Legislature has presented forward Senate Bill 76. This is entitled An Act to Provide for Licensure by Endorsement of Certain Licensed Professionals and Occupations. Senator Stalzer, thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
And Representative Torts, thank you so much for your leadership.
Thank you, Governor.
So let's get a picture real quick. Come on over here. Chad, you ready? Now, I've asked these gentlemen if they wanted to say anything today at the podium, and they said no, but I'm going to make them anyways. So that's how I operate. So, Senator Stalzer, would you like to share a few words?
I know we told you no, but Beth told us we had to speak, so nobody tells Beth no. I first got involved with this with friends in the Arizona legislature who had passed similar legislation. And in one of the press questionnaires, I mentioned that I was interested in working on this, and I think within 2 days I was having lunch with Rachel from the governor's office, wanting to know if we were on the same page and asking if we would work together on this. And so I want to thank the governor's office for tremendous cooperation in doing this and their support, and also Tyler for jumping in when I think for freshmen, it's quite an undertaking, but he has a lot of potential, and I'm very happy to work with him.
I'll be brief too. Just kind of a big thank you to Senator Stalzer and to the governor and her team for letting me be part of this. I joke I'm I think 31, 32 days in so far, so it's been quite the experience to be able to have the support that we did in the legislature. I think we had 98 of us that supported this all the way through, And, you know, there's no secret that our way of life and the quality of life here in South Dakota, everybody, it's been said before, this is a great state to, probably the best state to live, work, and raise a family. And to be able to have something like this that makes it easier and more streamlined to get people that are certified in their craft to be able to move to the state or return home to their state and be able to get working right away is just adds to that. So just happy to be part of it. Thank you.
Well, I will open up the microphone for anyone else that would like to share any thoughts. No, we don't have a bunch of... Well, again, I want to thank Midwest Mechanical for hosting us today. This has been wonderful to be somewhere that will benefit from policy like this. So many times when you're debating bills and legislation and you're in the Capitol and you're thinking of ideas to help the people of South Dakota, the best perspective can be gained with the folks every day that make the business run on time and that have the work ethic that makes South Dakota so special and that really are just looking for government many times to get out of the way, to get regulations out of the way and let them do what they do best. And Midwest Mechanical does that better than almost anywhere else in any other business here in the state of South Dakota. So thank you for hosting us. We're maybe going to wander around and see if we can build something before we leave and something that matters. But thank you for being here today. We appreciate you being flexible on the time too as well. And you all have a wonderful day. Did you want me to take questions here or later? Right now? All right. I'm taking questions right now if anybody has any.
Was this supposed to reciprocity as you guys picked up?
Well, reciprocity is where other states recognize our licenses as well, back and forth. For us to recognize them certainly opens the door to that conversation. So we do have reciprocity with some states. But I know that many states are looking at this legislation. What's been interesting to see the last couple of years is how often other states are looking to South Dakota for model legislation. When we do something here, people start to talk about it now, and they're starting to do it in their states as well. So while we certainly looked at the example we had in Arizona and a couple of other states that debated and talked about this, now that we've done it, I know more of those states are calling us saying, how can we do this exactly like you've done? What else? Anything else? All right. Yes, you can. Come on in.
Thank you very much. So welcome everybody for the 302 employees of Midwestern Mechanical. We're glad you're here to talk to the question that you made about the reciprocity. We do have reciprocity with several states around us, not to the south or to the west. So when we do work in those states, there's a lot of red tape and a lot of things that have to happen. And a bill like this will do a lot of good if it spreads. And I'm hoping everybody in the nation gets on the bandwagon and follows us and follows the governor and the great legislatures that we have that brought it to law. So.
Tell us a little bit about Midwest Mechanical.
Midwestern Mechanical is going to celebrate its 40th year in business this summer. We're located in 4 locations: Sioux Falls, Rapid City, Spencer, Iowa, and Sioux City. We cover about 4 states in the upper Midwest. 300 and some employees. We specialize in commercial plumbing mostly, but we do air conditioning at some of our locations, mainly Rapid City and Spencer. We do fire protection systems, and we cover probably a 4 or 5 state area in the upper Midwest. So tell you a little bit about us, but we've been around a little while.
Yeah, that's
So.
good. Any questions?
Oh, Ken Amundsen, president of Midwestern Mechanical. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you, Ken. Ken was supposed to introduce me, and I just decided he didn't need to. You all probably knew who I was, so. Yeah, I know. I figured it was. As I was cutting stuff out of your introduction, I thought, I don't even know why we're doing this, so shouldn't put the guy on the spot. Well, thank you. Thank you for being here, and you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll stick around for a little while in case any of you want to chat. See ya.